What's going on, guys? So today we are starting our healthier eating series here on Fam Studios. So welcome back to the channel. Join us in this adventure. Today's recipe is a gluten-free and keto-friendly recipe for a keto chicken parm with spaghetti squash. So join us in this adventure. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is our spaghetti squash. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take a very sharp knife and we're just going to take and cut the top off. You have to be careful because this has a very thick skin. And then we're going to take and cut the bottom off. And it works if you roll it a little better. Alright, so we're going to get rid of that part. And then we're going to take it, stand it up, and never get your fingers underneath it. That is the danger zone, obviously. So then we're going to take it like this. I got a little bowl here and a spoon. We're just going to scrape the seeds out and get to all the good flesh. Alright, we're going to get this all cleaned up, wash these off a little bit, and get rid of the inside part, and then we're going to lather them with oil, put them face down with some salt and pepper, and get them cooking. Alright guys, so first thing we're going to do is I've got a couple tablespoons of olive oil in here. I've got 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and about 4 teaspoons here of garlic. We're just going to add this to the pan. We're going to let this start to heat up and get fragrant. You don't want to let it set too much or it'll start to burn. So you have to kind of keep stirring it at this point. That way it doesn't burn and everything kind of cooks even. And I'm doing a double batch here, so I will post the original amounts in the description. But I'm doing a double batch because I have a larger family. So after about a minute or two, we're going to take and add salt, black pepper, oregano, and red chili flake. But again, description will show the actual amount. We're just going to let this cook for about 30 seconds to a minute. We're going to go in with our crushed red tomatoes that we have. This is a 28-ounce can. For a single recipe, you would just use 1. Since I'm doing a double, I'm using 2. Alright, I'm going to put a lid on this here in a second. After we get it to where it starts to heat up a little bit, we'll let it cook for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then we'll add some basil before we let it simmer for 30 minutes. Alright guys, so it's starting to get to a little boil. We're just going to stir this. We're going to add, it's usually 1/4 of a cup, but I'm adding about 1/2 cup of basil. And then I'm going to move this to the back burner and just set it to simmer for about 30 minutes while we get the chicken going. But it's smelling amazing already. Alright guys, so today's shout out video goes to a person who has been supportive of everyone in the YouTube community. She's always in live, she's always on videos commenting, shorts commenting, always being a positive, uplifting person for videos and stuff. And that person is Miss My Money Mess Ann right here. If you haven't checked her out, please do. She's an amazing person. She's got some content on her own channel of some amazing bike rides that are really relaxing and peaceful, along with some other stuff. But I could not be where I am today without the support of everyone in the community. And today's shout out, again, my Muddy Mess. Check her out. Amazing channel, amazing person, and we love you and thank you. Alright guys, so for this chicken part, we're going to need some almond flour. I've got about 1.5 cups here. I'm going to set this over to the side. I've got 3 eggs for our egg wash. For our breading, we've got onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, black pepper, and we're going to add some salt to it also. We're going to put that into a bowl. And then I've got 10 ounces of fresh grated Parmesan that we're going to take. There's the first 5. There's the second 5. Alright guys, so I added salt to it, about 1/2 teaspoon, because it's already salty as it is, and I put it in a baggie, just so we don't make that much of a mess, because the container was pretty full. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take and kind of mix it up, break it up for any chunks, and then we're going to get our egg wash ready. So for this egg wash, we've got 3 eggs. We're just going to beat these eggs and add a little bit of water to get them to where it's thinned out just enough to coat. Here's our egg wash with a little bit of water. I put about 1/4 cup in there. Just gonna kind of mix it up. I'm gonna get this cutting board cleaned up, and we're gonna get the chicken ready. All right, guys. So for the chicken, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure the chicken's good, and we're just gonna take a knife and cut it across like this, using firm pressure all the way through. When you get most of the way through, you can pull it and split it in half. There we go. And I already did this one thinking that I was recording when I wasn't. So we'll just get these other 2 done. Same kind of technique you would use when you're butterflying it, but we're splitting it in half. Alright, let's get this ready for the next part. Alright guys, so what we're going to do, we've got our egg wash, we've got everything ready here. We're just going to take a piece of chicken right into our flour. Get rid of that rubber spatula. Kind of lightly coat it in our almond flour here. This is not regular flour, this is almond flour, which is what makes it low carb and keto. Once we get that thoroughly coated on both sides, make sure you get every bit of it. That's why I'm using a fork. We're going to go into our egg wash mixture, and then right into our cheese blend. And then we're going to put it in the bag, and we're just going to shake it up. Take it, pull it out, and I'm going to do a double dredge on these so that they really get a good crust. You're just going to really press that into the chicken parm. If you see any bare spots, you can take some more and kind of press it in. Alright, I'm going to get the rest done. Alright guys, so I've got a pan here with some canola oil. There's about 2/3 of a cup right there that we're gonna let warm up. While that's warming up, we're gonna check our sauce back here. It's starting to bubble. See if we need to turn it down or what. It's looking amazing. The whole house smells like someone's nonna was here. But we're gonna let this heat up and then we'll start frying the chicken up. Alright guys, so our chicken is ready to go in. Oil is heated up. We're just gonna take a piece, set it in, get it pushed to the side. Get another one over here. I'm only able to do 2 at a time with how big these chicken breasts are. So we'll let that cook until it's golden and continue until it's done. Alright guys, so this you can tell is done. It's lightly brown on this edging here. Beautiful coloring. We're just going to flip it over, set it to the side, let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then go through it with a fork. Alright. These first two are ready to flip with the spatula. And we're going to let that continue to cook. Alright, so while that's cooking, we're just going to take a fork, just kind of run it like this, break everything up. Alright, we're just going to put this in a bowl and we'll wait for everything else to get done. So our final piece of chicken is done. We're going to take our sauce. We've got this all in a roasting pan. I'm just going to stir this sauce up and ladle some over each chicken breast. I'm trying not to touch the chicken breast so that Tisha can still eat the sauce. And there's our oven beeping saying that's at 350 degrees. And then we're going to put some mozzarella on this and call it good. Alright, now this is just going to bake until that's melted and we're good to go. Alright guys, so for the garnish tonight, we're just going to take a couple basil leaves that we've got. We're going to stack on top of each other and do what's called a chiffonade, which basically means we just take them, stack them on top of each other as neatly as possible, and then we roll these as tight as we can, and then we just do some thin ribbons. Alright, that's our garnish. Alright guys, so the chicken is done. So we're going to go ahead and place. What we're going to do first is just put a little bit of sauce right here in the middle of the plate. Just a very little bit. Wash that spoon up. Then we're going to take our chicken breast right out on top of that. And I'm going to take some of the spaghetti squash and go right next to it here, just a little bit. And I got a hungry little girl in the other room ready to eat this. Back in with a little bit of sauce, just drizzled over the spaghetti squash. And finally, a little bit of that chiffonade basil. A little bit down here. There we go. So, there's our plate. Alright guys, without further ado, let's see how we do. Chicken, cooked beautifully. Okay, Best way I know how to describe this, if y'all have ever gone to Noodles and Company and tried the Parmesan crusted chicken, that's exactly it, man. That is it to the T. Y'all gotta try this. If not, it's amazing. Try that spaghetti squash with it. 10 out of 10. I'd make this again. Y'all gotta try this. This is amazing. Now, excuse me while I go eat some healthy food.